Hey there, welcome to my fire. My name is Rosie Stoddard, although my first name is Wife. I'm 16 years old. I've grown up in Springville my entire life. I play the upright bass. I love the color yellow. I love curry. I'm terrified of seagulls simply because they don't care. And yeah, seagulls. I love to travel. I would really like to leave Utah someday and go to a university out of state. Maybe, well, any university. A party university. Maybe a junior college. But my family is all from out of state, which kind of leads me to my book, called The Great Alone by Christian Hannah. This book is set in Seattle, Washington, which is where both my parents grew up. Well, one of them, my dad. During this book, it revolves around a girl named Lenny, and her father named Ernst, and her mother named Cora. It shows this little family of three, and her father is a Vietnam War veteran that came back completely different than how he left, which so many people did. And it shows him being the alcoholic and kind of like not being as bad as he was until he decides to uproot his family and leave for Alaska, which in itself can be a very hard thing. So as they start to head for Alaska, they go in this little van, not knowing much about what they're doing or anything of what Alaska will be. It's basically the great unknown right now, not the great alone. As they arrive in Alaska, they're in a small town, limited people, not used to Seattle where it's busy. They come in a little cabin that they have to fix up, learn how to farm, how to live on their own and off the land. And as their father, they used the little money they brought, but he spent it on alcohol, which led to him beating Lenny's mother, Cora, which in itself you should never see at that young of an age, and which reminded me that people go through these hardships, but we don't know about it sometimes, that it's very silent what goes on in the home, and that we never truly know what is going on inside, and that it affects so many people in the world. And it shows in the book that Cora never leaves him as Ernst is beating her, convinced that it's just different because of the war, that he still loves her the same. And in the book, Lenny doesn't have friends. She's very alone until she meets Matthew. Matthew goes to the same school, the only boy her age. It's granted to evolve into a love story, which I can't help but love in itself, because I'm a 16-year-old girl. What am I not going to love about that? And it shows Lenny growing up through the years, and it has Matthew, who has to leave at a point in the book, which broke my heart then. And as it continued, it showed her becoming lonely again and her family life getting worse. But then there's this huge turning point where you're just cheering in the car as you're listening to it on your way to Washington like I did, and just being so happy as her and her mother finally get away from this. And as they do, it just shows them trying to learn on themselves again, and they leave Alaska, as it seems to have nothing but bad memories for them. And Matthew is kind of distant at this point. You don't hear much about him, which once again broke my heart because I was in love with Matthew and still am. But as it showed it continuing, in the end, I can't really give you this much of the book because you'll have to read it yourself. But in the end, it tied it all together in such a beautiful way that it hit home for me. I cried and cried in our little silent car on the way to Washington, and I was just distraught. And it kind of hit home because I want to travel, and it's just, uprooting yourself can be hard as you're leaving something familiar. And I really want to try and do that in my life, and this book kind of pointed out certain facts. But I'm still going to do it, and this was just a book that changed my views on how people can struggle without letting it known, and how I want to travel. And that's it. The end. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.